Hello friends, in this video tutorial, let us see the concept of log shipping in SQL Server. Now, log shipping is one of the high availability solutions available in SQL Server. So let us understand log shipping with the help of this diagram. So as in any high availability solution, we'll have two servers, primary and secondary. We'll call this as standby. Okay. Now, in log shipping, the logs, the actual transaction logs will be backed up using a log backup job in one of the shared folders. From the shared folder, the transaction log should be copied using a copy job in a destination share folder. From the destination share folder, which is usually on the destination server, this particular transaction logs will be applied to the standby server database using log restore job. Okay. Now, optionally we can have a log shipping monitor instance as the third instance. Okay. The role of this instance is just to monitor the different operations on these two servers with respect to log shipping. Okay. So if the monitor server is present, then in case any alerts are to be generated, then they are generated through the monitor instance. And if the monitor instance is not present, then the corresponding alert jobs are present on the primary instance for the backup job, and on the secondary instance for the copy and restore related operations. So the alerts for the copy and restore operations will be generated from standby server of the secondary server when the ls monitor instance is not present. Okay. Now let us talk further about the secondary server. For the secondary server, there can be two modes. One is non-recovery and the second is standby mode. So if the secondary server is in the non-recovery mode, then the secondary DB is in restoring state, hence it is not accessible to the users, not even for read access, and it requires manual failover if the primary fails. Similarly, if the secondary database server is in the standby mode, then the secondary DB will be in the read-only state. Hence, user will be able to read the data, okay, from the secondary server, okay, but the users will have downtime whenever the restore operations occur. Okay. In this case also, if primary fails, then manual failover has to occur. Okay. So in log shipping, we do manual failovers. So now let us go to SSMS. Okay. Now in SSMS, I have two instances, server 1 2014 and server 2 2014. My server 1 2014 is the primary instance and my server 2 2014 is going to be the secondary instance. Okay, make sure that SQL Server agent is running on both. Why? Because we are going to use jobs for this particular configuration. Also, make sure that the database that we are going to use to configure log shipping, in our case, we are going to configure log shipping for DB_test database. Okay, it has got this many tables. So make sure this particular database that on which we want to configure log shipping is in the full recovery mode. So let us go and check. So the recovery model is full for this particular database. Hence, this particular database, that is DB_test database, qualifies for log shipping. Okay, now let us configure the log shipping. So the first step that we need to do is have a copy of this particular DB_test database on the secondary instance. Okay, in standby mode or non-recovery mode. So let us go and see the secondary instance. Right now it does not have any databases. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to first of all create the backup. We need to take the data backup and the log backup of DB_test and then restore that on the secondary instance in either non-recovery or in standby mode. Okay, so let us first of all take the backup. So I will take backup for this particular. Right now it is connected to DB_test on the primary instance, that is server 1 as 2014. So let me just take the backup. Okay, so the backup has been processed successfully, and it has been the backup has been put in D SQL backup data folder. So let us go in that folder. So now the backup is available. Okay, now let us similarly backup the log for this particular database, and that has also been added to the same file, db_test.bak file. Okay, now we need to restore these backups that we have taken on the primary instance. We need to restore these same things on the secondary instance. So let us go and right click on database in the secondary instance. Let us go and restore from device, select add, and go to the folder which contains the db_test.bak file. Click OK. OK. So now it shows us both the type of backups in the same file, database as well as log. So now that is enough, and let us go and configure the files also. Now by default it is putting the files as, let us see where it is going to put. It is going to put the file in server 1, which we do not want, right? So let us relocate the files to the base directory for the server 2 instance, and server 2 instance is our secondary instance, right? So this is server 2 instance. This directory is correct. Okay, and similarly for log also, let us put the files in the server 2 instance. Okay, so this particular directory for log file is also correct. So now let us re-verify where the restoration is going to happen. So it shows the restoration is going to happen on server 2 for the data file. That is correct. And let us similarly check for the log file. So the restoration is going to happen for the folder for instance 2, which is indicated by this server 2 2014. Okay, so this directory is also correct. So now everything is done on for the files tab. Let us go to the options tab. Now over here we need to restore with no recovery or standby. If it, as we already discussed, if it is in no recovery, then the database on the secondary instance will not be available for user queries. But if it is in the standby mode, then users can access the database in read-only state. Okay, so let us go ahead. And now whenever you specify standby mode, it creates a standby file. Okay, this is basically used to undo the uncommitted transactions. Okay, so now we have configured everything. So let us click OK. So database db_test has been restored successfully. Okay, so let us go and verify it. Okay, so db_test is available. It is in standby mode and it is in read-only state. So this is perfect for setting up our log shipping from the primary instance. So let us now go back to primary instance. Let us go to database. Let us go to db_test, properties, transaction log shipping, and we need to click over here, that is enable this as a primary database in a log shipping configuration. So let us click over here. Now let us provide the backup settings. Now these backup settings are basically for this job, backup job, log backup job. So data will be picked up by this job, transaction logs will be picked up by this job and put into the share folder. So we will also have to specify the share folder path. So let us go and specify everything. So let us go and click the backup settings. Now I have created a shared folder. The folder name is source.db. Let us copy the path. Let me put the path over here, and if the path is located on the local machine, specify the local machine path also. So I know that it is on the local machine, so I will go ahead and specify the source.db path from the local machine. Okay, now we can specify the retention schedule. We can specify when to generate alerts, and for this particular job we can specify the schedule. So let us specify schedule to run every 2 minutes for this particular demo on log shipping, right? So let us click OK. We have configured everything for the backup part. Now it is important to understand that in log shipping you can actually ship your logs to more than one server, to multiple servers, which is not possible in database mirroring. We'll see in some future video tutorials the database mirroring part. But now let us understand over here that for log shipping it is possible to ship your logs to multiple instances. Okay, so you can add multiple instances with the help of this add button. So let us click add. Okay, so now let us connect. So we want to connect to the secondary instance, which is server 2. Okay, so let us go and connect to the server 2 instance, right? Connect. Now for initialize secondary database, we will select this option. No, the secondary database is already initialized, right? Because we know that we have already initialized the secondary database with the help of backup database file and backup log file, right? Now copy files, we need to specify the destination folder. So let us go to destination DB. So this is our destination folder. Let us specify it. Now let us schedule the job for copying. So let us go and schedule it. Okay, I will ask it to run at odd minute intervals. Let us click OK and restore. For the restored part, I will want the database to remain in the standby mode. So I will select standby and disconnect users in the database when restore is happening, right? When restoring backups, when the transaction logs are being applied. Okay, so we can also, if we have any particular need of delaying the application of transaction logs to the destination server, then we can specify some time period interval over here. Right now we don't have such requirement, so we'll keep it as 0, and you can specify the time period after which the alert should be generated. Now let us specify schedule for the restore job. Let us put it at 2 minutes. Let us click OK. OK. Now if you want to configure a monitor instance, then you can click over here and specify a instance which will be used as the monitoring instance. Now in this case we will not configure a monitoring instance, so we will keep as it is. We'll keep this particular thing as blank. Okay, so now let us click OK. We have specified one primary server from which to take backup of transaction logs, and we have specified one secondary server where to apply the transaction logs. So let us click OK. So everything is success. Fine. So let us go back to SSMS. Now if you go to the jobs, you will be able to find the jobs created for these particular things. So on the primary server, a backup related job has been created, and similarly if you go to the secondary server, refresh, then you will find copy and restore related jobs. As we do not have a monitoring instance, we even have alert related jobs, right, at both the places, correct, at both the instances. Okay, so now our log shipping has been configured. So let us monitor our source DB. Right now there is no data. Okay, fine. So let us go and do some data changes, okay, in this particular database. So let us go to test_db. We have a table called table 1. Let us go and edit the records. It has records up to 7, so let us put 8, let us put 9, and okay, so let us put 9 and let us put a 10. Okay, so we have added 3 new records, 8, 9 and 10. So click execute. So now these records are added in the primary instance. Let us go to the secondary instance. Let us go to the tables. Okay, in table 1 select. So you have only records up to 7. In the secondary instance, it is still in the old state. It still has the records up to 7. It does not have the 8, 9 and 10 records. So now we want this particular data to be transferred with the help of our log shipping configuration. So we can see now in the source DB the TRN file is present, the new transaction log file is present. Okay, good. Now let us go to destination DB, refresh. So right now there is no file for transaction log. Okay, so still in over here, if you execute, it will still show the same as 7 records. Now let us wait for the file to come in the destination DB. Okay, it should come in a minute, in 1 minute time. If you want, you can manually run the job for copying. Okay, so you can go over here, you can manually run the job, but I will not do it right now. I will wait for the job to run. Okay, so let us go. So now the job has run, and now the file is available in the destination DB. Still the data will be at 7. Okay, why? Because this job has not run, restore job has not run. So let the restore job also complete. It will also run after 1 minute time duration. So let us wait for few seconds, and we will again click execute button so that new data will be available. So right now still the restore job has not run. Okay, you can anytime go and see the view history. Okay, yes, so now restore job has run successfully. We can see the status over here. Okay, the restore job has ran successfully, and correspondingly the record number 8, 9 and 10 are now present in the destination database. So we have successfully configured log shipping for between the primary and the secondary instance. Now quickly let us understand what to do in case the primary server fails, and if we want to bring up this particular database, that is db underscore test database. We don't want it to remain in standby mode, we want to make it primary. Okay, in case the primary fails, then what to do? So first of all, assume that the primary has failed. So first thing to do is go to the jobs and disable this job, backup job. Okay, fine. So now no more backups will be, transaction log backups will be generated. But now any backup which has already been generated needs to be applied to the secondary server. So go to the instance for the secondary database, go to the jobs. First of all, manually run the copy job. So all the transaction log files that were already generated and placed in the shared folder by the primary instance have now been copied, okay, into the destination folder. And now also run the restore job so that those particular transaction log backups are applied to the secondary instance by picking them from the destination folder. Okay, so now this is also success, which means all the transaction logs that were lying in the source DB folder have been moved to destination DB folder, and from there the transaction logs have been applied to the destination server, which is our test DB server. Now the only thing that remains is tail log backup. Okay, what about the transactions that may have occurred after we disable this job? Okay, so for this let us do a tail log backup. Okay, so we are now back to the primary server. We can see the server name is server1 2014, which means we are back to the primary server. So we will do a final tail log backup. Okay, so let me execute. So the tail log backup has been generated. This has been generated with a name of tail log backup. So let me go and show where is that file. Okay, so this is the file which is the tail log backup. We need to apply this tail log backup in the destination server with the option of with recovery, okay, to bring this database up and online. So let us go to the secondary server. We can see the server name is server2 2014, which means it is secondary server. Now restore log db test from disk equal to this tail log backup with recovery. This will bring the secondary database up and running. Okay, it will make it primary. Okay, fine. We need to change the context to primary, to the master database. Okay, so now we have restored this particular database with recovery option. So let us refresh. So now this database is ready to perform all the transactions. So in this way we have made this database, which was secondary database, as a fully functional database, and now this database can work as a primary database. Okay, so I hope friends this video tutorial on log shipping is useful to you. Thank you.